Constipation is a common problem that requires a little bit of a different approach than what you might be used to. Stay tuned if you want to find out the key to treating constipation. But first things first, let me show you the drawing behind me, and then we're going to talk about constipation and get into the real meat and potatoes, pun intended, of this video. So here I've drawn your lovely digestive system from mouth to, you guessed it, colon. And I did this because I want a visual aid to show you what we're talking about, which is basically total gut transit time. That's one of the most important metrics that we can know in your journey with constipation. And you might already have a sense of this yourself. So how long does it take for food to get from your mouth all the way out in the form of a stool in that toilet? Now, there was a really cool study a few years ago called the blue poo experiment. I'll link it in the description down below, and I'm going to put a visual aid on the screen in a second here. But they had people ingest 2 bright blue colored muffins and then basically watch and wait until they pooped it out the other end, and they had a bright blue poop. And what they found is that for people with Bristol stool scale type 1 poops, that is little rabbit pellets, little nuggets of poop, not even formed poop, the people with the most severe type of constipation on the Bristol stool scale had the longest transit times. So for somebody with constipation, it could take them a whopping 8 days between ingesting the food and pooping it out the other end. So some people ate the blue muffin on like a Monday, and then it wasn't until the Tuesday of the following week that they pooped it out and had a blue poop. Now, the relevance and how this ties in with the key that I've been dangling like a carrot in front of you is that the key to treating constipation is patience, and here's why. All of us are reasonable human beings, right? And we would agree that we need to give the strategies we're utilizing time to actually take effect, right? You're not going to take something one time and then 5 minutes later expect a miracle unless it's like an EpiPen or a life-saving medication. Generally speaking, when we start a new dietary strategy or a supplement or an herb or even a medication, we're going to give it a little bit of time to really kick in, change our physiology, and do its thing so that it can help us. Well, what's really important to know is if you imagine that most of the problem with constipation is probably from here to here, right? So colon motility, colon transit time, the colon microbiome. All of this is happening primarily in this region of your GI tract. So if we're imagining that this is the problem zone that we want to address with any of our constipation remedies, I don't care if it's a probiotic, a prebiotic, an herb, a supplement, a medication, whatever, it might take 8 days for the thing that you're taking to even make it to the site that it's going to act upon. So that means when you're trying to treat or manage or navigate constipation, you have to be much more patient than even the average bear. Let's say a person with normal transit time or a person with diarrhea. They could take an herb or a probiotic and it's going to whip through their system and it's going to get down here in a matter of like hours or perhaps a day or two. If you are constipated, it might take 7 or 8 days to get to this latter part of the colon. So that means there will be absolutely no effect, potentially, until a minimum of a week has gone by. Then, similarly to what I said before, we are rational adults, we understand things, we're reasonable. You wouldn't expect the thing to work on day 7 or 8 when it just barely arrived in your colon, right? You would want to give it at least a week or 2 in the colon to really do its thing. So I would make the argument that for constipation specifically, we need to give interventions and modalities and changes a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks to really show its stuff. And that's even being kind of not fair in a way, because if you think about it too, when you read research studies, like I'm always up to my eyebrows in research studies for you guys, but when you read the research, let's say probiotics, for example, almost every probiotic study in humans gives the probiotics at least 4 or 6 or possibly 8 weeks to take effect before the researchers bother remeasuring and reassessing stuff. So really 2 to 3 weeks is still very, very rushed in the grand scheme of things. We might need to give each individual thing a solid 2 months to really show effect. But I'm saying at the absolute bare minimum, 2 to 3 weeks for constipation before you make a judgment. So if you're trying a new prokinetic or HCl or a probiotic or a prebiotic or a dietary strategy, give it time. I know it's hard, but it will pay off, and you've got to be patient enough to let these things really show their stuff. Of course, if you're feeling mighty impatient or lost or frazzled and you're like, gosh, I have such a hard time being patient all on my own, navigating this bullshit, pun intended, and I just want somebody to call them like they see them, call out the BS, and tell me what I need to do, and say things like this that maybe you never thought of before, then I've got great news. Fodmap Freedom in 90 Days, my group coaching program, is opening up in just over a month. We're opening up in mid-August, and if you join the wait list now, it's not a commitment. You don't have to join the program if you're on the wait list. But what that does is that gives you a full week to decide if you want to join before I open it up to the general public here on YouTube and Instagram and other platforms. So if you're even thinking about joining Fodmap Freedom, there's no pressure, no obligation. Go join the wait list, and that means that you're going to be the first to get information about it and the first to get the opportunity to join us. And then you can make the decision that's right for you, and you can take your sweet time. And also, there's an extra special bonus for people who register in that first week, the early enrollment week, with the waitlist folks. So check it out. Come join us. I would love to help you navigate this stuff. Come join us on the Q&As that I run. It's a really fun time, and we get results. Hey guys, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe, ring the bell, click the like button, and leave a comment down below with the videos that you would like to see me do next. Doing all of those really helps support the channel and support my efforts in making as many videos as possible for you guys. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.